Hey everyone, this is Elias from Match Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2022 BMW M440i xDrive Gran Coupe. Yeah, this is a coupe with 4 doors. Sure, BMW. Let's see if you can win me over with other things though. Let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and I'm gonna address this color. This thing looks so good, and this Brooklyn gray just really stands out. A gray color standing out. Yeah, BMW, you nailed it. It looks really good. And that front headlight here design, that design looks really good, nice, aggressive. The light output is really nice with the LED system. And yeah, let's talk about this. The big grille. Yes, you guys hate it. Yes, it's big. Yes, I like it. I do. It looks really good. For a BMW this size, honestly, I think it would have looked kind of weird to have a smaller grille. I think this bigger grille suits it well. And I know everyone hates the Lexus grille, or hated it at first, and now for some reason everyone's liking it, or at least more people are liking it. I have a feeling this is what people are going to start liking in the future. It'll be a classic. I'm pretty sure about that. Mark my words. But yeah, it's a nice, beautiful design. I do like the black look. It is like a flat black on the outer, and the inside is a gloss black. And again, with this Brooklyn gray, looks really, really nice. And we have the front-facing camera on there to help you make sure that you don't, you know, bust this front bumper under there, because we can be a little bit on the low side. But yeah, overall, I do like the front end. Very aggressive, very nice looking BMW front end here. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have under the hood. We get under the hood and we have the 3.0 liter inline 6 cranking out 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque. That is connected to the 8-speed auto and then to the xDrive all-wheel drive system. Now, a couple of things with this. This is a mild hybrid platform. Yeah, it's extremely tiny. There's a little, meter there that, as soon as you think of of putting your foot on the gas, it already drains that system. That's how small it is. As far as the power goes, it is really good. It is super smooth, but really hard at the same time. What I mean by that is it's very linear in go, go, go power. What's funny is sometimes these more performance vehicles that I've driven, you kind of feel a plateau of power where it just really, the cars really come fast, and then it just kind of stays. You don't feel, I guess the G-forces kind of pulling you back. Now with this thing is crazy. It just wants to go, 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 go. It wants to eat through those 8 gears, and yeah, get you in trouble. Also, the exhaust, when you put it in eco mode, is extremely quiet, almost non-existent. But when you put it in sport mode, this thing wakes up your neighbors. It is, alerts the authorities, but it is nice sounding exhaust. I do love it. But yeah, the performance has been really, really good in this. The transmission as well, shifts are really fast, really smooth when you need them to be. No complaints there. The adaptive mode that this has, which is kind of goes through all the different modes depending on how your pedal is feeling or how your foot is feeling, it is really good. When you don't want it to be loud and you kind of back off, it'll kind of go into that eco mode. When you want to go like a bat out of hell, it opens everything up and makes everything really fast and really loud. One thing I do love about this is those modes, you are able to customize them. So in eco mode, you can still fine tune the suspension and the steering feel as well. So you don't have to sacrifice, if you're in eco mode, a really sloshy feeling or soft feeling suspension, which it really isn't, but you know what I mean. Or the steering wheel, if you want to have a nice firm sport-like feel, you can tune those individually. Well, yeah, this guy's great. Let's go ahead and see what we have in those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this nice 19-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the Pirelli P0 245/40 in the front and 255/40 in the back. First, the design looks really good. The fact that we have a black wheel, always a plus, especially with this gray here. And we have that kind of polished outside face a little bit there, which just really adds a little bit of that beauty or that little accent to it. The P0s were really good with grip, you know, especially with the power that that engine has. It was able to really deliver it down. Braking was really good as well, even for a bigger vehicle like this. No complaints there. Nice red M caliper there. But overall, this was a nice setup for performance. For every day, it was just as good. It was just as good. It was really calm, really quiet. You know, you don't feel, if you want to be in comfort mode, the suspension adapts and is extremely comfortable. No issues compared to like the M5 that I drove, which was, even at the comfort level, was just unbearable. This comfort was a drive in the clouds. It was really, really good. So definitely impressed with this. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We take a look on the side, and this is where we're definitely going to address that coupe part of it. We take a look at the front though, and that big 19-inch wheel looks really good in this. It, you know, good size proportions to it. We have the slight sculpting of the hood, nice touch. Headlights look good. No complaints there. We do get to this little vent down here. It's a nice touch to break up this, you know, really big panel, or just a lot of the gray in this sense. And I do like the fact that it's in that black color as well, the gloss black. We do have the M-style mirrors. Always a fan, you know, very classic design. And we have the camera system here for that 360-degree view. And we also have that bottom flat black kind of design down here, which is good. Again, just little accents to touch up, to break up that big sea of gray, so to speak. Another thing that's really great is the door handles. So they are flush with the body. They are not kind of protruding or anything like that. I like it. It's a nice clean look to it. Then we get to the back door, and this is where it feels a little small. So that's the other thing. To kind of get into this, you kind of feel like you're getting into a sports car, because again, with it being a coupe or Gran Coupe, typically has a lower roof line, so to speak. So it does make the entrance a little bit tougher than maybe, you know, if it were a true sedan, so to speak. And which, yes, I know it's 4 doors. It should be technically labeled as a sedan, but we have that. And then when we get over to the rear, that's where, you know, like when you're editing a picture and you kind of go to squeeze or resize it, and you accidentally don't hold the shift and it just kind of squeezes. That's what the rear is. I feel like that's what the rear, when the designers were designing it, they accidentally forgot to hold down shift to proportionally resize the trunk area, or really from here back. And yeah, it kind of shrunk. It's a little on the quirky side, borderline cool, borderline nah. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, basically. But yeah, we have that. Now let's go ahead and talk about key fob. So what I like about this is I am able to get close to the BMW, and as soon as I touch the door handle, or the lack thereof, or the smooth door handle, it goes ahead and unlocks. So I am able to open that up. Nice frameless window is always a nice little design touch as well. We go ahead and close this. We can do that to lock, and it's locked. Now let's go ahead and test the back. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It opens up and I don't have to touch the front. So if I'm needing to load my kid in, or if someone needs to get in, I don't have to unlock. As long as I'm close to it, it'll go ahead and unlock, which is nice. Again, frameless window is always a nice little touch. So I can go ahead and close there. And as you probably saw, it's a little bit on the smaller side to kind of get into that rear seat. Well, even though I do and I don't love-hate kind of the rear, there is one thing I really love about it. So let's go ahead and head to the back and see what we have there. We get to the rear, and this is where the design actually is really, really good. So one of the first things that I love about this BMW is the taillights. So the taillights have, and I'm loving this trend again that I've mentioned before, where the outer plastic to the taillights are transparent, so that then you can play around with different design elements on the inside of the taillights. So with this one, was really successful, and it looks really good there. Nice little xDrive badge there. And another one of my favorites is this little spoiler here. It's super tiny, probably almost very little performance or any actual use other than the look. I'm sure aerodynamically it has some impact to it, but I would have probably gone with the black. So it would have been with like that gloss black that this has down there. And speaking of down there, yeah, we do have a nice rear lower part of the bumper there. Again, I do like that it's black and not the body colored. And we have those exhaust tips. Unfortunately, those are not real. So the exhaust pipe goes right before it, but it's not connected. So they're faux exhaust. Yeah, not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, it does look nice, but definitely not what they really are. And then when we take a look at the opening itself, my understanding was that this little area was going to be my trunk, and I was, you know, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but when I went ahead and I opened it up with the key fob, I realized that it's kind of like a fastback. So it has a big opening, or like a hatchback opening. So it is a really big opening as well. There's a ton of space in here. All my equipment comfortably fits in there, and I have tons more space for any other things. Everyone's luggage that is sitting inside can fit in here. So there is a lot of space. I do like that we still have a privacy area there, as well as this little area here, so that when we do close it, it's completely seamless, and it gives you the impression that it is a full trunk, or a standard trunk, so to speak. But yeah, tons of space there. And we can also close it down by pressing the button up there. We get it down, and it's set. The other thing is, on the key fob, if you press the BMW logo 3 times, took a bit, but it got it going. Yeah, so this has remote start. Thank you, BMW, for putting it on the key and not on an app, not on some other weird thing. Just leave it on the key fob. This makes it easy for me to let my wife borrow it, and she doesn't have to log into it. Just, yeah, this is the way to go. We get inside of the BMW, and we have this red leather interior. It's really nice. I do like the color of this. It's kind of like a wine red color to it. So a couple of things. We get to the door, and really comfortable. There's, you know, no issues there. Again, we have those details of the red on there, as well as obviously some black and a little bit of that brushed aluminum look to it. So it looks really nice. We're gonna get to the seats next, and that is a big thing for me, because these seats, they don't have power. They are manual seats. Yes, these are completely manual seats. And we have the chip shortage to attribute to that, or be the cause of it. And it suffers really badly. Reason why? It's me and my wife. We both drive, and it was kind of an annoyance to try to get my sweet spot back. And even then, I still can't get a sweet spot to begin with, because with the power seats, you have that fine tuning or fine adjustment that you can have. With this, with them being completely manual, not a single thing is powered. Yeah, which is pretty, at this price point, it's kind of hard to swallow. And again, with it being my wife and myself that drive, it's very difficult to kind of switch back. It got to the point where this week we have a Ford Raptor as well, where she just wanted to drive the Raptor. She's like, nah, I'm done trying to adjust my seat. And yeah, this, I don't know. I would say maybe make the other smaller models sacrificed a little bit more. I don't know if those are also being kind of suffering from that, but that was a big thing. Now, when we take a look at the steering wheel, it is nice. It's typical BMW, not a bad thing. It does feel really, really good. Like the leather finish is really good. The grip to it is nice as well. Ergonomically, it's a nice sized wheel as well. No issues there. We do have the controls on the left and for like cruise control and things like that. And we have your infotainment settings on the right, or buttons for that on there, which is good. Nicely placed. And we have our heated steering wheel option down there. Now, this does have the paddle shifters. Paddle shifters in the back are not that good. They are really, really tiny. They're really tiny, and well, actually they're not too tiny. They're just really towards the center of the wheel, so you're having to really overreach, and it's only the top half. I don't have anything down here, so I am having to, you know, only be able to really, if I were to test it out, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't hang over at the bottom if you're maybe have the wheel turned a little bit, and ergonomically it's better to have something at the bottom. So that was kind of but other than that, I've been actually using just a shifter because that actually has been better for me. We get to the gauge cluster, and the gauge cluster is full digital, so we have a full digital screen. We have what I call like the brackets look to them. I wish there was more to this. It's very plain in the sense of, like, you know, your options that you have. I literally just have like one or two little things. I have like my driving, my mileage, my horsepower, my G forces, my music, but it's all in this right screen. I'm not able to change it on the left. It's just, I don't know. I guess when you have a screen, I like being able to customize a lot of it, but it's fine. I mean, it's fine for what it is. If you're obviously just going to be having this as a touring car, or just, you know, a weekend driver, or daily, it's perfectly fine. Performance, like I said, I would have definitely liked more to this. Now we get over to the infotainment system, and the infotainment system is nice. It's the BMW's wider screen. I do like the look of that. That does look really nice in this. And a couple of things with this. We do have the option of doing some hand gestures to get, you know, to the next track. So what I'll show you is, if I do thumb to the right, it actually does that. It's crazy. It's crazy how it's just going to the next track. And I'll raise the volume a little bit, but if I do this, okay, sorry, we won't do too much because of YouTube, but yeah, you are able to raise your volume or lower your volume there. It's pretty cool. And I think if you do two fingers, yeah, two fingers like that, you paused it. I forgot what my wife was doing, and she said, oh yeah, two. And she actually made it pause, and she goes, oops, I'm sorry. So we discovered that one. Pretty cool. I mean, it's great when you don't, because the buttons on here were little, because I have that little wheel and I'm thinking that's the volume, but it's really just the plus and the minus to raise and lower your volume. But that movement is pretty cool to do with the BMW. Then we get over to the AC controls, and it was fairly simple. No issues there. Only problem that I did have is the syncing. So in order for me to sync, I have to go into menu AC, press the synchronize button, and I'm good to go. I honestly, I shouldn't have to do that. It should technically be a button. I wonder if, like, I don't know, maybe have a button that you push down and hold to do a double function. Maybe for the auto, that would have been nice if you push and hold it and it does a different function and it does the synchronization. So that would definitely have been a nice function to have, instead of having to go again into the menu. Because as you can see, after I got out of there, I have to go back and get back into my Apple CarPlay. So that was just kind of, if we were to nitpick. Then down here we have your radio controls for your presets, your favorites on there that you can have for the BMW infotainment system. We come down here and we have the wireless charger. And yes, this does have wireless Apple CarPlay. And it is really, really good. It is really good in the sense that no disconnects, music sounds great. I mean, what you need in a system for wireless Apple CarPlay function. So really good, especially out of this Harman Kardon speaker system. You definitely want to option it out with this. But yeah, so that wireless charger is great there. Wireless Apple CarPlay is great as well. We have the cup holders, and the cup holders can hold really large cups. Only thing though is if you need to get to your phone, you do have to take those cups out because they are blocking the wireless charger. That's the only thing, which I guess is a good thing. You know, put it away, don't play with your phone while you're driving. But we have that. And then we come back here to the command center, or what I like to call the command center of the BMW. Really quick, we have the shifter, which we'll get into soon. We have then just some driving things. We do have a hard button for the camera system, which yes, I do love. I love the fact that we have a hard button for it and we're not having to dig in a menu. So we push it on and we can see we have the front facing camera there. Yeah, so really good. And that's again because we are in drive. And we have, you know, just the engine start stop. We have your drive modes, which we'll definitely get into, but we have sport, comfort, eco, pro, and adaptive. We have auto hold, which is nice. We have the parking brake on there. And then we have this area here, which is like the input device for the infotainment system. Honestly, I haven't really used the wheel because this is such at a good reach and the functions are easier to navigate through this than if I were using the joystick, so to speak, or the input device down here. So haven't really used that much. I do like the fact that I am able to, so after I press the menu AC and I synchronized the options, I do have the option of pressing down here for media. So you kind of get a little bit of a pass there, BMW, but you do have those options there. We come back to the armrest and this is nice and comfortable. You know, the leather feels really good, and we open it up and there's not much space. So there is a little bit of space here. So don't expect anything like really big that you can put in there. Maybe like a small box, really, like half a shoe size, half a shoe box kind of size, if not smaller. I don't know what would really fit in there, but yeah, not much space. We get to the back and we can see that we don't really have my kid's seat here this week because with this being a Gran Coupe, yeah, that whole, it's a 4-door coupe. Yeah, I don't know, but it really wasn't enough space for the bigger child seat that I had. So just be aware of that. If you're looking into this, make sure you take your kid's seat and see if it fits. It did not fit my kid's seat in this, so we went with the booster seat. It's also a little bit small to kind of get into, like the opening itself from the door, so just be aware of that. For taller people, this might not be good for the rear, you know, for the rear seating for them. Now we get to the trunk, and the trunk is big. It surprised me because I went to go put something in the trunk and I was expecting just that little tiny, like, you know, part of the metal, so to speak, to open up, and didn't realize that this was a full hatchback style or fastback style trunk, and it was really nice. It's big. It's a lot of space. It definitely reminded me of the Volkswagen Arteon, I believe was the, yes, and it was, you know, it has a ton of space back there, so you could definitely lug everyone's luggage back there, which was a nice touch. So definitely, if you're needing to haul people and their luggage, you'll have space for it back there. Now let's talk performance. We're dealing with a 3.0 liter turbocharged inline 6 with a mild hybrid system. It is cranking out 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 8-speed auto and then to the xDrive system that this has. Now, yeah, this thing is so much fun. It is a really, really good sounding engine. I was surprised. It sounds really good. And right now that we are in eco, you can barely hear it, but I can definitely switch it over to sport. and it will definitely wake up. We'll drop a couple of gears, and yeah, you can definitely hear, and it does have snap, crackles, and pops. This thing is so good. You could really feel the power at really any speed. It just sounds so good, and the shifts are so smooth when you want them to be, when you're in more civilized, eco mode. But when you put it in Sport Plus, this thing really shifts hard. And it's crazy because sometimes you get this plateau in other cars. You get this plateau of power where after a certain kind of speed, really, or a certain amount, a certain gear, it just kind of falls. But not with this. With this, it just wants to keep going and going and going. It's crazy at it's just crazy how good this thing can go. And that xDrive, the grip is incredible. Again, if I switch it back to eco mode, I'm completely quiet, and you can also program your eco mode, which I do love, because sometimes the eco modes are too docile in the sense of, it just removes all pleasure of driving it, not just the engine, but the steering, the suspension, and sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to be, save some gas. Yeah, definitely, quiet the engine, make it really calm, throttle input really slow, all that eco good stuff. But let me feel the steering wheel still in that sport mode. Let me feel the suspension in the sport mode, because maybe I like it more in the sport mode. So that's what I do love about BMW's driving modes and the way you are able to adjust that. So definitely this has been an awesome thing to do. Now the only thing, as far as like an everyday car, these seats, I have to come back to that, and it's tough because it's such a small thing. And I know the whole week I've been contemplating where else can we sacrifice so that we bring or use chipsets for the seats instead. But yeah, I couldn't really find anything, but I know definitely it's something you'd want to have. It's just a shame. Maybe next year things will get better and be able to have this with power seats, but it's definitely a big thing to miss. Overall though, this has been a really nice BMW. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review, and remember, find the right gear. Sport mode, and see ya.